Well, hello everybody and welcome to Jeff's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to make a butter cake, which is simply a soft and quite light cake, heavily flavoured with butter, but also with a little bit of vanilla extract. You could put some lemon zest in as well if you wanted to, just to give that extra bit more flavour, but it's focused on the flavour of butter really. So I start off by preheating my oven to 160 degrees Celsius. That's 140 Celsius with a fan, 320 Fahrenheit. And I have greased and floured an 8-inch square cake tin. So with that said, I'll go on to the ingredients. And for this, I have 225 grams, which is 1.5 cups, based on scooping packed flour into a 250 milliliter cup of plain flour. And to go with that, I have 12 grams, 1 tablespoon of baking powder. I have 185 grams, which is 3/4 of a cup plus 3 tablespoons of caster sugar, which I have divided into 92 grams and 93 grams there. I have 310 grams, 1¼ cups plus 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter, which I have softened. I have the whites from 5 medium eggs and the yolks from 5 medium eggs. That they would be large eggs in the USA. I have 60 millilitres, 1/4 cup of buttercream. You could use natural yogurt, you could use sour cream, you could even use double cream or milk, but 1/4 cup. I have 3 grams, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 10 millilitres, 2 tablespoons of vanilla extract. And so that's all the ingredients. And the first thing we need to do is to cream the butter with some of the sugar. So I'm going to put my butter into a larger bowl, and then I'm going to add in half of the sugar, so 92 or 93 grams, whichever bowl I pick up, basically. And then I'm going to cream those together until they're pale and fluffy, and that's going to take a good couple of minutes. So I've creamed those together quite nicely. So I'm going to add in my egg yolks, and I'm going to add them in one at a time and mix them each time until they're incorporated. And with the egg yolks incorporated, I'm going to add in my buttercream and my vanilla extract. I'm going to whisk those and get those fully incorporated, and I'm probably going to whisk those for another couple of minutes. And with the buttercream and the vanilla incorporated, I'm just going to put that to one side for a moment while I put my baking powder and my salt into my flour. I'm going to give those a mix around just to get those mixed through. Just like that. And then I'm going to add the flour into the butter mixture. And I'll do that in a couple of additions. And I'm then going to just mix it together on a low speed. I don't want to overwork the flour. And that has the flour mixed through reasonably well. And I'm just going to use a spatula just to turn that over a little bit, like that. And then I'm going to clean off my whisks, because I'm going to use those to whisk the egg whites with the remaining sugar. So I'll put my egg whites into a larger bowl, and I'm going to whisk those until they're very frothy. And with those nice and frothy, I'm going to keep whisking, gradually adding in my 92 grams of sugar, and I'm going to whisk until the egg whites have achieved stiff peaks. And there I've now got stiff peaks, so that's good enough. So I'm going to put those egg whites and fold them into my batter mixture. So I'll take about a third of the mixture and I'll fold that in first of all. And again, I think you could probably use your hand mixer to do this, but we don't want to knock too much air out of the egg whites, really. And I should say you can also do the whole thing with a stand mixer, but there's more danger of over mixing if you're using a stand mixer, I think. And as that begins to get incorporated, I'll add the remaining egg mixture, egg whites. And I just carry on mixing that gently until it's all incorporated. And that's fairly well mixed. So I'm going to put that into my prepared cake tin. And then I'm going to level that off I think that's good enough. So then I need to bake that. Now, if you bake it just like that, as it bakes, it will rise higher in the centre than it does around the outside. And one of the things you can do is to use baking strips like this, which you wet and you wrap around the outside, and it stops the outer edge of the tin from getting hot too quickly, so that the cake will rise evenly. But if you don't have one of those, you can take some kitchen towel, which I have simply folded, and you can wet that and you can wrap that around the outside of the tin as well. Or you can actually wet it, enclose it in aluminium foil, and again wrap it around the tin, and that will serve as a baking strip. But that's entirely up to you. So whether you intend to do that or not, you can put the cake into the oven and bake it for between 50 and 60 minutes until it's springy on the top and a skewer poked into the centre comes out clean. And once that happens, take it out of the oven and leave it in the tin for about 5 minutes. And then after 5 minutes, tip the cake out upside down onto a wire rack and leave it to cool completely. And then once it's cooled completely, you can turn it over. So once mine is cooled completely, I'll come back and show you what it looks like. I baked the butter cake for 55 minutes and I tested it with a skewer, which came out clean, and it rose quite nicely as well. So I took it out of the oven and left it in the tin for 5 minutes. Then I turned it out onto a wire rack and I left it on the wire rack upside down until it had cooled completely. So now I've turned it over and I've cut some pieces. So I'll show you what it looks like. So as you can see, it's baked up very nicely, and it's nice and springy. So I'll have a taste of this piece. That's very, very good. It's lovely and buttery, with the hint of vanilla as well. Similar in some ways to a Madeira cake, if you've ever had Madeira cake, but slightly more buttery, I think. This is perfect for me, just plain as it is like that, with a cup of tea. But you could serve it with some fruit compote or some berries as a dessert. In fact, you could also cut it into pieces, or some of it, and use that in making a trifle. However you want to use it, but for me it's perfect just as it is with a cup of tea. So that's going to be it for this recipe. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there'll be an eye that you can click on, and that will take you to a link for the recipe, and I'll put a link below the video as well. And I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.